Welcome back to part 2 as we get into game news.
Game news!
So the reports on who cleared what was left of THQ is coming out finally, as this includes Nordic Games, who took Darksiders, Red Faction, and the MX vs. ATV franchises for almost $5 million, and also managed to get the rights to Summoner, Destroy All Humans, and Supreme Commander, which I'm surprised about Supreme Commander, because I could have sworn Gas-Powered Games were owned by Squaresoft, or Square Enix. Going retro here. Either way, you may remember that the former Vigil Games folks who now work at Crytek USA had hoped to buy the Darksiders franchise back, but I guess that didn't work out for them. And 505 Games bought the rights to Draw to Life for $300,000, and Gearbox Software picked up the Homeworld franchise that Team Pixel, we mentioned last week, had a Kickstarter for. They got their bidder's license, but they couldn't keep up with the bids, so Gearbox picked that up for $1.35 million. And keep in mind that despite all of the franchise being picked up, it does not mean that we will necessarily ever see these games again, as has happened before where rights have been picked up and nobody did anything with them. And Nintendo of Europe is running a promotion on the 3DS that between now and June 30th, any European customer that buys and registers 3 3DS's games will get an eShop code for a free game. And the 8 free games to choose from are all high-profile stuff like the new Luigi's Mansion, the latest Animal Crossing, the latest Monster Hunter, the latest Fire Emblem. That's pretty
I've never
fantastic.
played Animal Crossing.
Sadly, there's no plans for this promotion in North America, however, but, you know. And meanwhile, the Wii U 3-point update went live that opens up the Virtual Console to buy some games on, plus standby mode, faster loading times, and support for even more Wii controllers and so much more. I'm sure there's several different places you can find the full list on that. And Nintendo made a rather surprising announcement for the first time that I can ever remember that they will not be hosting a major event or press conference at E3 this year. President Satoru Iwata explained that they wanted to have smaller venues showcasing newer titles, specifically addressing American interests for Nintendo, and it's still a very odd announcement to me, and one that might be a signs of the times for Nintendo, or possibly for E3, because just yesterday, 2K Games also claimed that on their website that they will also not have a booth at all at E3 this year. The parent company of Take-Two will still be holding meetings, but the 2K studio itself will have no presence at the show whatsoever. Related company Rockstar Games, the creators of stuff like Red Dead and Grand Theft Auto, has never really made much of a showing there at all, so it's hard to gauge exactly what all of this means, whether it's either E3 failing or game companies trying to trim some of the fat off of their budgets by having smaller show presences. I don't know.
E3 almost fell apart at one point.
Mm-hmm.
I know a lot of the developers I noticed go to PAX and stuff now.
Mm-hmm. I think it's cheaper for floor space, to be honest.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, the association that runs the E3, along with apparently hundreds of other companies, are bringing their cases against THQ's bankruptcy filings. E3 for unpaid booth space for this year's E3 that they obviously won't be attending, royalties for Microsoft and Codemasters and the UFC, a breach of contract from Double Fine, a hefty amount of $13 million from the toy giant Mattel over an undisclosed contract, and several former executives like Brian Farrell, Jason Rubin, and Jason Kay for various blunders within the company that they're suing for. And apparently these are just the big claims, with dozens upon dozens of others pouring in, so it's uncertain how any of this will turn out. I mean, it is a bankruptcy case. This is the stuff they couldn't afford. That's why they went bankrupt. Either way, not likely a dime will exchange until sometime in May or later.
Have fun squeezing that blood out of that rock.
And more news of corruption, as former Activision PR head in the UK, Catherine Curtin, has been convicted of taking almost $30,000 from the company to spend on shopping sprees, a lengthy luxury hotel stay, and a bachelorette party. The funds came from money set aside for the Call of Duty Black Ops launch festivities in 2010, so it took a while for all of this to actually happen. And she wasn't alone either, as PR consultant Jamie Kay yoinked another $7,000. They bought 6 iPads and a holiday in Florida. Both were given somewhat lengthy suspended sentences, but the bigger issue is how common these sort of situations are occurring in the game industry now.
Quit stealing your company's money!
Lots of defrauding going on. I mean,
what the hell?
So Zynga has announced actual decent profit for the first time in some time over the period of the last 3 months. Over $4 million, in fact. Here's the ironic part. Its daily active users have fallen drastically in that same time, from 65 million to 52 million. Monthly and unique users were also down considerably. So the profits have had to come from the layoffs and the streamlining and the fewer games that they have on the market needing support. So the profits have come from the layoffs and the streamlining and the fewer games that they have on their roster than the market actually supporting it. Because less players does not mean more money.
Yeah.
And more layoffs at EA, as more of their restructuring has let go of more employees. While EA is keeping mum about what studios are affected or how many were actually fired, many sources have told Kotaku that as much as 10% of the company and its subsidiaries have been fired. And GameSpot has said that they employed over 9,300 people at the end of 2012. So that's a lot of folks, no matter how you slice it.
Damn near 1,000 people.
Pretty much. Many other developers have been offering positions to those from EA looking to apply. Plus, there's an unconfirmed but strong hint that Electronic Arts will also be shutting down its EA Partners publishing label that has helped push a lot of big-name titles to various systems over the short time of its existence. Between the streamlining the company has been doing and the potential that it may well be caught up, if only simply unpaid or shortchanged, in the events of 38 Studios' bankruptcy, another big-name studio that went bankrupt this last year, and currently still progressing in court cases, so the publishing branch does seem to have a high chance of being closed. We'll keep you posted as this develops. And I almost feel like I was speaking a whole other language there as I fumbled through that one.
Yeah. EA is just doing horrible lately.
I think it's money issues, and it's either start trimming or go the route of THQ and owe a bunch of people money they can't afford. I think that's where a lot of these companies are at. Even the big boys are having trouble.
I'd love for Maxis to get snatched up by a Valve or something.
I think that's the bigger thing, is the companies that we really love that maybe not be in such good hands at the moment to go to better hands. Or at least something to change where they have more control over what's going on. But then again, like this case with SimCity, I think Maxis had as much to do with it as EA did in this case, so.
I know that the Maxis guys want to tell us what's going on, but unfortunately they've been NDA'd to hell. They can't really say anything.
So CCP Games, the studio behind the big space jockey MMO EVE Online, has updated some information for the gigantic MMO World of Darkness based on the famous White Wolf of pen and paper RPGs. Announced way back in 2006, it's been revealed that over 70 developers are engaged to work on the game, which is a crazy, crazy number. And this includes stuff like web-based social tools, special environments, a special clothing system, and a whole bunch more. They haven't really been specific yet, but they have to be expecting this game to be a hit. There's
that
no
better
other
be the
way.
best game ever.
And Ambient Studios, creators of Monsters Meltdown and Death Incorporated, is shutting its doors as it wasn't making enough money, even with the Kickstarter attempt to keep alive. Ambient has went on record, however, that alpha backers for Death Incorporated will receive refunds out of their own pocket, knowing the game will never see the completion they had hoped. And so perhaps I have a correction to make, or perhaps I don't. See, despite the barbed wire and the Johann Sebastian Bach record, and even the music from that record being made prominent in the Evil Within live-action trailer that was released last week, though no sign of burning sunflowers, mind you, well, the Australian Ratings Board released Endless Summer as a title from Bethesda, who's also publishing The Evil Within, and it's rated as MA15 plus for strong horror themes and violence. So according to GameSpot, they believe that the teaser trailers are related to it and not The Evil Within. So I'm not sure if I agree, or both games are really too similar in marketing campaigns at present, which is kind of silly, considering they're both coming out of Bethesda and they're both survival horror games. I don't know, this seems like a no-brainer. Most of what was shown in the little teaser clips were shown in the live-action trailer. So am I just a better journalist than the people at GameSpot now?
Possibly.
So John Needham, who was part of Cryptic Studios before joining Gazillion Entertainment, has now joined Lionhead Studios, known for the Fable video games, if nothing else. Lionhead, who's been a subsidiary for Microsoft since 2006, was looking to hire a staff for a next-gen MMO title about this time last year. So perhaps his move there is related to this. And also new to Microsoft is Kendall Boyd, a marketing agent at Epic Games for the last few years until he swapped over to the Xbox machine maker. He'll be heading up the marketing division for future Halo titles, so yes, it's not the end of Halo, if anybody even doubted that for a moment. This is notably the fourth major player at Epic Games who's left the company in the last year. And it does make a person wonder if the new boss at Tencent in China has anything to do with them leaving. And Valve announced that Steam will now be supporting subscription-based video games, starting with the MMORPG Darkfall Unholy Wars. All aspects, including sign-up, canceling, managing, and renewing for subscription packages, can be done right through Steam now, so there's no reason to go off-site like there used to be. And though there is no present way to give subscriptions to other players, so we'll see if this takes off. And in a strange turn of events that's happened more than once in recent years, Dead Island Riptide came out just recently, and apparently certain retail versions of the game, mostly sold in the UK and Northern Europe, found themselves putting in their Steam codes and getting a copy of Dark Souls instead. The situation's already been cleaned up, but whoops. And Blizzard and the Major League Gaming Association, also known as the MLG, got the 2013 World Championship Series and North American qualifiers going as thousands of StarCraft players battle for the 16 slots that will be available for the finals. There's a lot of controversy over all of this, including some banned players, a late disqualified player, and some brackets being screwed up, but Blizzard and the MLG has been working to get all the issues fixed, and the people that were affected by some of the negative situations get a chance to get back into the tournament in the open qualifier for the Challenge League. The one exception was that the South South Koreans who used the North American qualifiers to get into the tournament will indeed stay in their brackets, even though it kind of went against what the setup was intending to do, to diversify the combatants from all over the world when Koreans tend to dominate the StarCraft tournaments anyway. They basically have two groups of South Koreans who's going into it, so there seems to be some unfairness going on, but there's nothing in the rules about any of this, so it's staying. And speaking of tournaments, the NorCal Regionals are going on this very weekend, gearing up for points for those who goes to the big fighting game Super Bowl, EVO, later this year. And also this weekend was the opening of DreamHack Open first event, as 96 StarCraft 2 players from around the world will be battling for slots for that Grand Finals, as well as $25,000. The Grand Finals happens sometimes this winter in DreamHack Winter, I think. Oh, as if anybody was really expecting it, a Ratchet & Clank movie is officially announced on the PlayStation's channel. Rating it for theaters in 2015, Rainmaker Entertainment and Blockade Entertainment has teamed up with Insomniac Games for a CG cartoon. Thank goodness it's CG and not live action. Full-length movie featuring some of the original voice actors from the game series. Hey Grover, you feel like some pizza? Because now it's even easier to go order some, because since Microsoft and Pizza Hut have teamed up, so now you can order pizza straight from your Xbox.
What? Wow.
Plus it's apparently the end thing that you can post what and when you ordered to Facebook. Then again, it also makes it easier for you to post to someone that you're giving a pizza to. So that's actually useful. That's kind of interesting.
That's interesting.
So the grand launch of the Xbox app in North America, for the first 2 weeks, will get a 15% off their order. So dun pizza power.
I'm gonna make sure to order a pizza to my friend in Antarctica. Good luck
with that. And Shinesparkers, the big Metroid fan site, is once again gearing up for a new album featuring talented remixers from all over the world, but this time they're breaking away from just the Metroid tunes that the Harmony of 100 albums were known for, and crossing into the crossover territory. Harmony of Heroes, a Super Smash Bros. Album featuring remixes from some of the most beloved songs in the Nintendo universe, with many remixers from past albums returning with some new faces. Oh yeah, and then there's that Maserati guy. Well, he'll be back for those who care. I don't know, maybe. Bethesda, we already talked about them. I should probably put this back there a little ways, but has officially announced that Elder Scrolls V Skyrim, the Legendary Edition, with all 3 DLC expansions and the 1.9 patch all included, will go on sale for $60 for the 360, the PS3. Yes, the PS3 will finally get all of the DLC, and the PC come June 7th in North America and 2 days later in Europe and Australia. It's also a great idea for folks like Mike, who's been waiting for this complete package forever, since there will be no more DLC and only minor updates and patches from here on out. Skyrim is complete. And pre-orders for Saints Row 4 will give players the Commander-in-Chief Edition, which includes an Uncle Sam suit, a jet that resembles a giant eagle, and a weapon called America, which merges many of the game's guns into one massive BFG-style monstrosity. Minecraft Snapshot 13W17A came out, and it includes name tags for created mobs, a new block where smelted clay is turned into hardened clay for a new look for building purposes, and lastly, zombies who get damaged has a chance of spawning another zombie within its vicinity, which can turn into quite a mess in certain circumstances.
Wait,
zombie hordes. Yay! However, there's also a lot of controversy regarding Minecraft right about now, as apparently there's been updates to the launcher that now automatically forces updates, which means there's a ton of mods that are no longer functioning properly because they continually get overwritten every time Minecraft is open. I highly doubt it will stay this way. It may even be fixed by the time the podcast airs, but as last check, it's pretty bad right now. I haven't played Minecraft since the situation with my texture pack, so I haven't confirmed this myself, but from the forums boards, it's ticked off a lot of modders right now. And till May 2nd, you can get 75% off of various games, both boxed and digital, from Square Enix Online Store. Tomb Raider, Kingdom Hearts, Dream Drop Distance, Dead Island, Final Fantasy 13-2, Hitman Absolution, Risen 2, Dark Waters, Special Edition, Sleeping Dogs, and so much more. Go check that out if you're looking to save a little cash. And how about that, Square Enix? I just promoted you. Xenoclash 2, Might and Magic Heroes 6, and the 80s-centric Far Cry 3 expansion, Blood Dragon, comes to PC this week. Zaka Zero and Leviathan Warships hop onto Steam, as well as the launch of Ragnarok Online 2, one of the most beloved free-to-play MMOs of the 2000s, is finally getting a follow-up. And Sony's Soul Sacrifice, which almost sounds like a tongue twister, for the PSP Vita rounds out the most notable releases for the week. And and I'm going to go ahead and mention this. Here is a video that is really impressive. This is a water effects demonstration from PhysX, who's going to really change the way water effects and physics are going to probably appear in future games. It's kind of breathtaking. I didn't think it would come to this day that we'd see effects like this. So, I mean, if we're impressed by water effects now, this is going to blow people away. The only thing is, I have no idea how our computers are going to keep up with this at present. But
it's going to rip our computers apart like Crisis did.
Probably. Join us for part 3 as we get into our topic. Not that we really have one, but we'll see you there.